The preseason starts today for the Tennessee Titans, and all eyes will be on Cam Ward, the number one overall pick in this year's draft. We're going to talk about his performance and what we expect to see out of the young fella. In the J.J. McCarthy era also kicks off on today's full slate of NFL games. And what a beautiful time to be able to watch football. But we before we talk about it and break it all down, you gotta hit the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and hey, I'm holding it down for another daily episode. So if you're tuned in and you ready to talk some football, man, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Man, yesterday for Shedeur Sanders, it was a W in his column, but he still has more work to do. But now inserts the number one overall pick in Cam Ward, who I am anxious to see. And it's not to compare him to Shedeur Sanders because two totally different situations, but it is a way to see if he can carry over some of that assassin mentality that he had down in Miami now over to Tennessee to help change the game and help change the situation down there in Tennessee. Cam Ward, first preseason action is going to take place versus the Buccaneers, which is going to be very, very interesting because head coach Todd Bowles is one of those defensive guys that's going to bring some heat. He's going to bring some heat. And after all these years of Coach Brian Callahan for the Tennessee Titans has been dealing with Will Levis slamming the board on the ground, cussing my man's Will Levis out. We trying to see if Cam Ward can come over there and just kind of ease things over. But I think that the expectations for Cam Ward, we should not go out there and compare him to Shedeur Sanders. You just want to go out there and watch Cam Ward do a really good job. Again, when I talk about these young quarterbacks coming in through the preseason and having their moment, it's not always going to be about the stats for me, even though the stats are very, very important, to kind of help uh, bring in the game as a whole to help us visualize what took place. But my most important thing, I'm looking at the operation. Does Cam Ward have command of the offense? Does Cam Ward get the ball out on time? Does Cam Ward go through his progression to where he is not, just locked in on one receiver, but actually going where the play is telling him to go on, where to go? And if it's not there, how do you move on to options 2, 3, and so on and so forth? And can you be able to utilize your legs? That's going to be an interesting part for this. And Cam Ward, again, it is only the preseason. You just want to see these young quarterbacks, start to lay a foundation. The foundation will not be laid in game 1. The foundation will not be laid in game 2 of the preseason or game 3. The foundation gets laid brick by brick each and every week until this first season concludes for these young quarterbacks. So I'm looking at Cam Ward and just wanted to see, hey, you've been credited as saying that our offense is mid right now. So how do you, as Cam Ward, the first overall pick and the talent that we believe that you have, how can you come into this first preseason game and hit the ground running? You know what I'm saying? How fast will you be running? That's still to be determined. But can you hit the ground running? It's going to be about how you call the play, what the cadence look like. Can you go out there and dissect defenses and know where you need to go with the football? Because Todd Bowles on the other end, he's gonna be ready to dial up some blitzes regardless who's out there for his team, regardless if it's the first string, regardless if it's the second string. He's going to be looking for ways to utilize some of his blitz packages so he can get an idea of what he needs to do when the season comes along. So it's going to be interesting to see my man's Cam Ward actually step up into this. Can he be able to step up in the pocket when necessary? Do you abandon the pocket too early? Are you staying in too long? Are you able to have a good feel of the game? I believe in the young fella. I think he has all the talent right there. I believe him and Shedeur Sanders were the best two quarterbacks in this year's draft that just passed a couple months ago. But hey, that's all gone. The college stuff is all gone. Now you in the big boy leagues to where people don't care where you was drafted. They trying to make sure they can get a check to feed their families, feed their kids, and make ways and pay them bills. Cause you already know them bills, they gonna keep coming regardless if you got a job or not. So them other fellas on the other side, they trying to go out there and make a name for themselves too, and they ain't counting on just another year unless they have long-term money. So Cam Ward, this is a different type of beast, but Cam Ward is made for these type of moments. Even if it is preseason, Cam Ward has definitely been one of those guys that wasn't highly recruited, that had to start off his collegiate career elsewhere, ultimately ended up in Miami to continue to work on his game, and now he's here. Now he's here. Let's see that poise. Let's see that mentality. Let's see if he can get going, because he might have some early game jitters. You know what I mean? And we've seen with a lot of rookie quarterbacks, they have those early game jitters, but then after a couple reps, some of them are able to turn it on and get a little bit comfortable, and then some of them, they struggle a little bit. So let's see how Cam Ward handles today. I'm very, very interested. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. And I think he's going to do a hell of a job versus the Buccaneers, even though it might not be. Hey, Todd Bowles is a monster when it comes to coaching. They're a well-coached team over there in Tampa Bay. And it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm hoping that we at least get to see him for a quarter. I don't necessarily know what the game plan is right now, but I'm at least hoping we at least at the minimum get to see him operate for a full quarter. That's about 2 or 3 possessions. I think that's real, real good. It should be feasible just so he can get a little bit of a taste of what the NFL, game is going to be. Obviously, it's just preseason, so the speed of the game is going to be a lot different from when you have a bunch of starters on the field, but it's going to be exciting to see how my man's performing it. Good luck later on today, my boy. But hey, now we talk about JJ McCarthy. So leave your thoughts on the Cam Ward. How do you believe that he's going to do today? But now we move on to JJ McCarthy. The JJ McCarthy era starts today. I'm seeing reports that JJ McCarthy will get some run out there. We don't necessarily know if it's going to be just a series or two, a half, a whole quarter. We don't necessarily know. But for the moment right now, we do know that JJ McCarthy's era in Minnesota starts now. I will be one of the ones that say I believe there is some pressure on the young fella, simply because you bring in Sam Darnold last year, and then you see Sam Darnold go out there and win 14 games with the Minnesota Vikings and then cash in on 100 mil. So JJ McCarthy, a team that has won 14 games last season, how can you help this team this season? Because of us that are constantly watching the NFL year after year, we understand that every year is different. One year you can go to the Super Bowl. The next year you could be at the bottom at your division. One year you could be at the bottom at your division. The next year you can go to the Super Bowl. One year you could be at the Super Bowl, start off hot in the following year, and then lose 6 in a row. We just seen all these different things happen. So we're gonna see what JJ McCarthy is made of this season once the season starts. Again, we're not going to be able to take huge nuggets out of the preseason, but you want to see if he's going to look comfortable enough to where you be like, okay, this young fella is starting to build some confidence, simply because last preseason, he started his preseason debut off with an interception, but he bounced back, threw for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we're going to be able to see how JJ McCarthy is, taking on this offense. This is another year in this offense. So, and he had a bunch of time to go out there and rehab the knee injury. So we're going to be able to see if those things are starting to improve. At least up here, we're going to be able to see it. But what the question is does he have the ability to deliver with his arm? Because my man's Justin Jefferson's came out and pretty much said, hey, we got it's pretty much his rookie season. We got to tread lightly. We got to move this way. We got to handle it this way, trying to calm the noise a little bit. But guess what? We NFL fans, we crazy. No matter who you rep for around the NFL, your fan base is crazy. There are some people that are more crazier than others. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it misconstrued. Don't get it twisted. But nonetheless, all NFL fans are crazy. We hate on our rivals. We laugh at our rivals when they do boneheaded stuff. And hell, you see the logo, y'all laugh at me and my man Steve-O because who we represent. But hey, it's a part of the game. So I'm interested to see JJ McCarthy later today as well, facing off versus the Texans. And that's gonna be interesting to say the least, for real. It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited for it. And then lastly, on today's docket, that we're gonna get to see is Jackson Dart. Again, we don't know how long these guys are gonna play. I know y'all see the theme here. These coaches are not really telling us how long these guys are gonna play, how much tick they're gonna have on the field. But reportedly, my man's Jackson Dart has been having some eye-opening throws in training camp. Okay, that's training camp. That's practice. Like I said, I take it with a grain of salt. And then preseason, you take it with a little nugget. Hey, are you going to be able to show us why the Giants drafted you over Shador? That's all I want to know. I know it's not going to be proven in preseason game 1. It's not going to be proven in preseason game 1. We're going to be able to decipher that over time. But we're still going to be locked in and loaded to see why was this decision made. Because when you come out there and depending on how much, snaps that you receive, are we going to be able to see you operate? Are we going to be able to see you take command? Will you deliver on time? It's the same criteria for all these young quarterbacks. I'm not going to be inconsistent with this. Regardless of where you were selected, I need to see it. The same thing. Cadence, poise in the pocket, understanding the situation, going through your progression, and delivering. It's very, very simple. From Shador to Cam to Jackson Dart. And even if the Pittsburgh Steelers go out there and give is it Will Howard from Ohio State some tick today? The same thing applies. Poise, cadence, go through your progression, and understanding the situation. That's it. Consistency. That's all we asking for. So I'm going to be watching all these guys today. Definitely tuned in, locked in, ready, and very, very excited for football. And fellas, and some of my ladies too, if y'all ain't speak to y'all partners yet, y'all doing y'allself a disservice. Y'all should have y'all partners, whoever that is. Y'all should have them locked in and ready to understand football is on the way and we ain't going away for like 5 months. It's just over with. When you slip in, make sure you take care of your business before game day. So on game day, you can watch in peace and say, babe, I told you. I told you. So talk to your people, man. Talk to your people. Make sure they good to go. Now, if you got a partner that's into the sport with you, that's a double whammy. But my partner, my wife, she just say she a Bears fan by association. Hey, that's enough for me. That's enough for me. That's enough for me. I'm just saying. But hey, that is it for today's show, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in into another episode. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell and let us know all your thoughts and comments on the preseasons thus far, because I'm enjoying it. Some people don't like preseason. I enjoy it because I get to see if some young fella going to be able to go out there and cash in on a check, or to see if these young players are going to be able to do something that surprises the hell out of me after my early evaluations. So, hey, but that is it, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always love football. Y'all already know we're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
This has been a presentation of the Break